Do in the name of the Almighty God swear.
Do in the name of the Almighty God swear.
That I will at all times. Well and truly serve the Republic of Ghana.
Well and truly serve the Republic of Ghana.
In the office of.
The Republic.
And that I will uphold. Preserve. Protect. And defend the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana. As by law established. So help me God. The next is the oath of secrecy. I holding the office of. Do in the name of the Almighty God swear.
Do in the name of the Almighty God swear.
That I will not directly or indirectly. Communicate or reveal to any person. Any matter which shall be brought under my consideration. Or shall come to my knowledge. In the discharge of my official duties. Except as may be required for the discharge of my official duties. Or as may be specially permitted by law. So help me God. Ladies and gentlemen, let me first of all welcome you to the seat of the presidency of our country and be the first to congratulate you on your appointment as members of the Ghana Cocoa Marketing Board. The inauguration of the Board of Directors of the Cocoa Board is one of the most important events in the calendar of any government of Ghana. Cocoa has been the mainstay of our nation for over a century. It accounts for over 8% of our gross domestic product and a quarter of our export earnings. It has been our flagship commodity on the international scheme and a source of good livelihood for several generations of Ghanaian farmers. Many of the most important towns of our country, Surum, in Sowam, Dodua, even Kumasi, were built on the back of the wealth generated by the cocoa industry. Unfortunately, in recent years, interest in cocoa farming has waned. Farm productivity has been going down, and cocoa farms today are besieged by illegal mining. The volatility of prices on the world market and a shift in consumption trends have reinforced the decline of the sector. The sector has also recently been awash with stories which are being investigated of widespread corruption in the management of the activities of the sector. The purpose of the investigations is to establish that if these stories are true, the measures are put in place to ensure that they never occur again. Against this background, the government of the New Patriotic Party and I have made a commitment to raising production levels of cocoa to at least 1 million tons and to process more than 50% of our cocoa beans here at home. We have committed ourselves to finding new markets and improving our standing in the cocoa value chain. In other words, we are determined to make it again a lucrative industry. For my government to succeed in this undertaking, we are going to need your full cooperation and involvement. The board has now a new leadership. The chairman is a respected public servant with a very wide experience in national affairs and was for a long time a high-profile employee of FAO. So he comes to the chairmanship of this body with the requisite experience and background, as does also the new chief executive of the board, an academic in the area and another reputed and respected public servant in our country. I believe they have the qualities to lead this institution at this very delicate moment in the life of the industry. The other members of the board have been chosen equally carefully to enable them to make a good contribution to the restoration of Ghana's pride, a vibrant cocoa industry. It's an onerous charge, but a charge I am confident that the caliber of men and women who are now on the board of the Cocoa Marketing Board are going to be able to discharge. The Ghanaian people are looking at you. They want to see a new leaf turned in the manner in which our cocoa industry has been managed and developed. And you're doing so under the overall leadership of a minister of agriculture who has given his life to developing this industry. His academic and professional life have all been intimately bound with the development of the cocoa industry. So as far as I'm concerned, from where I'm standing, I've put together a winning team. And I'm hoping that your performance will show that my judgment was right. Congratulations. May God bless you. And God bless Ghana. And God bless cocoa.
We feel very honored to have been given the opportunity to serve the nation, to superintend a sector of our economy, which, as the President said, is most important for us. COCOBOD has been in the news lately, but as the President said, maybe for the wrong reasons. And we have our job cut out for us. But we know that with the backing of the President and the brief and the remit that he's given us, we will rise to the occasion. The myriad of problems, sometimes very daunting. But as the President said, to quote him, he was not elected to complain. And I guess, Mr. President, we can also say you have not appointed us to complain. But having said that, we need to appreciate all the points that the President articulated. For example, the cocoa prices are falling from about $3,200 per ton to now around $2,200. We've lost a whopping $1,000 per ton. So on the back of a production of 850,000 tons, we've lost $850 million. That is some of the problems that we have to cope with. Again, the syndicated loan of $1.8 million that we had hoped to use for this production year, unfortunately, Mr. President, is all gone. And we are yet to finish the purchase of the crops. So it falls on us to immediately try and organize some financing to carry on the process. The decline in production exacerbates the situation, just as farmers are also, the President said, are selling their crops to Galamsey. And smuggling At the borders, also a source of great concern, Mr. President. Huge indebtedness, and I mean huge indebtedness of the sector of the COCOBOD is something that we really have to tackle. Indeed, when you look at it, then the indebtedness or the huge debt overhang of the government itself becomes pales into insignificance. But we have to start do that. Mr. President, we could not agree with you more when you made the point that the cocoa farmers themselves have not been the major beneficiaries of the proceeds from the cocoa. We intend, as a board, to ensure that we are the friends, the advocates for the farmers, the thousands and hundreds of thousands of farmers, and we shall so do, Mr. President, and revert the situation whereby those who produce cocoa will benefit from it. We will rationalize expenditures and establish models for moving the industry forward. For example, I really believe, we believe as members of the board, that we have to look at all manner of procedures in the board, including making dramatic cuts in the salaries, the wages of the top management. And even, Mr. President, after dramatic cuts, they will be higher than the highest under Article 71 of the Constitution. That is what the sort of situation we are dealing with. Transparency will be the order of the day, and with immediate effect, for example, no disbursement will be done more than 2 million cedis if the committee, the finance committee of the board, which I hope to chair, has not approved it. In other words, we have to do what we have to do to make sure that the cocoa industry rises to the million ton production that the president has given us. And all the assignment that he has given us, we will do the best, and we know that with his support and that of the Honorable Minister of Agriculture, Finance and Trade, and the Bank of Ghana, we will be able to do that. Initially, it will be very bumpy, but I mean, as I said, that's why we are here. And the new management will ensure that the best of issues, practices are employed to move the industry forward. Having said that, we want to assure our cocoa farmers that they should have the pride of place in everything that we do. And at the end of the day, they should realize the benefits of their labor. We have distinguished representatives of the cocoa farmers on the board, and they will continue to do the advocacy. But it cannot be the case that those who produce for us to end the foreign exchange are the ones who are going to be disadvantaged. If it is cocoa roads, with the approval of the presidency and the ministers, it has to benefit cocoa roads. If it's scholarships, it has to benefit proper cocoa wards and not people who live in the cities. No, it cannot be the case. And having said that, we cannot also live with a situation where, for example, the cocoa roads has overrun its budget by in excess of 5 billion cedis. We cannot do that. We have to operate within the confines of the rules set up by the president and the party, and that we will do. So, Mr. President, you have given us a job, and we'll do our best with your support and that of your senior members of the presidency, and we hope to be able to rise to the occasion. It will take some time, yes, but we will start by reviewing all contracts that have been signed. Because just sometime on cursory looks, you see definitely there are completely out of place. So we will do that. We'll also go further and make sure that value for money is achieved for everybody. And we have to get the COCOBOD staff also with us to understand that the proceeds from cocoa are not only to be used for the staff and what has been invested in that, but we will have to look at it and see how we can also be proactive and help the government to improve the livelihoods of the cocoa farmers. I'm sure, Mr. President, we shall achieve your dream of raising cocoa production to 1 million tons, but above all, as you said in your speech yesterday, making sure that the cocoa farmers become the genuine beneficiaries of the proceeds of cocoa. That is our promise, and that's our pledge. We will not shift from that.